Hi, my name is David Phillips. I am the Program Officer at the Office of Naval Research for Optimization. I'm also a professor at the U.S. Naval Academy. Today I'm going to be talking about the ONR portfolio and in optimization, as well as, more broadly speaking, what we invest in. So up here you see the five codes. This is how we organize at ONR, broadly speaking. You can see the listed titles there: information, cyber, and spectrum superiority, ocean, battle, space, and expeditionary access, mission capable, persistent, and survivable naval platforms, warfighter performance, and then aviation. So those are the titles, and you can search on these titles, of course, and you can find out more about them online. Just to give you a rough overview of them, Code 3.1, you can think of that. That's where all the mathematical research at ONR takes place, including the optimization portfolios. Code 3.2, that's ocean and atmosphere, so acoustics, Arctic, global prediction, etc. Code 3.3 is surface and submarine platforms, design, assessment, materials, and so on. Code 3.4 is human performance. That includes decision making, healthcare and neuroscience. Code 3.5 is aviation. That includes hypersonic design, propulsion, etc. And what I really want to emphasize is that all of these areas require operations research, and they require specialists in operations research. So I think it's really important to take a look at all these different codes and be aggressive about trying to apply for funding with the program officers there, and not just look at the optimization portfolio. Why? Well, there's a lot of money. So the portfolio investments are roughly $2.5 billion. Of that $2.5 billion, you can see that well over half of it is in basic research and applied research. That's we code those further as 6.1 and 6.2. So there's a lot of investment that we're making in research. And I think if I have any principal charge as a program officer for optimization, and really I think of myself as a program officer for operations research, it's to try to get more operations researchers in informatics, I guess, or analytics is what we call ourselves these days. I would like to see more and more researchers get funding from ONR. So the core research programs at ONR are really in 6.1 to 6.3. There's actually this hierarchy of research at is really extends to more than that. But at ONR, we primarily focus on these first three. So the way I think about this a lot of times is, 6.1 is basic research. The main product is papers and development of fundamental ideas. 6.2 is applied research. So this is where you have some real data, expected performance. I think it's really important to have a contact point within the DoD. So, you're focusing the applied research on problems of true interest. 6.3 is advanced technological development. Usually this is a robust implementation of some idea in an operational environment. So this might be a piece of software that is now being tested or even used on ships. Okay, and with the core optimization programs in Code 3.1, the programs that I manage are in basic research and applied research. So to talk about that a little more, the basic research in optimization and decision making, this is in 6.1, the title of it is Mathematical and Resource Optimization. Emphasis here is on innovative ideas and new directions. It doesn't need an application right off the bat. I think I'm very used to arguing about the 10 to 20 years down the road kind of utility of basic research, and this is well understood and well received. Just to give you an idea of some of the new efforts, they can be quite broad. They're investigating topological data analysis applied to integer programming. That's one project. Stochastic optimization over function spaces, and semi-compact formulations for some NP-hard problems. And you're going to hear more today in the subsequent talk. So there's a broad, I think I'm pleased that the portfolio right now has some really broad areas. There are some deeper areas, and say, how to data, using data and optimization together, with machine learning. And there's some other areas with multi-agent optimization that I'm pretty excited about. So there are some deeper thrusts, but overall, I think if you have a great idea, it should be, and it's reviewed well, I have every intention of trying to get something funded. With computational methods for decision making, that's the 6.2 portfolio. That's applied research and optimization decision making. And the emphasis there are on efforts leading to and or supporting 6.3 projects. So, 6.2 projects can start off with not, and that's something we call a transition. A lot of times they start off and they are more proof of concept, like you take a really good basic research idea and you apply it to a DoD problem with some real data and maybe and hopefully a contact point within the DoD. But to get continued funding for 6.2, there has to be some payoff for the 6.3 work. Some newly funded efforts for FY21 include some stochastic integer programming for a battle management aid. That's currently being implemented, so that PI is actually working with a 6.3, a group of 6.3 people that's funded under 6.3. There's also a mixed integer program model for strategies in the South China Sea. That's not being worked with a 6.3 yet. It's the first part of the project, but they are working, the PI is working very closely with a couple of people in the DoD to get that done. So how do you apply to the core programs? Typically, what you need to do is look for the long-range broad agency announcement. There's a new one out as of September. They are 3-year grants. The typical budget means 1 summer month of faculty support and 1 student. So that's 1 summer month per year. That's the sort of the typical grant. People can argue for different amounts, and that's taken as a case-by-case basis. I don't list an amount because what 1 summer month and 1 student means it really varies from school to school and from faculty to faculty, depending on how senior they are, and depends on the school. The way it works is a 5-page white paper should be submitted, and for full consideration, please try to have that in by the end of April. That's just to get everything, done in time. And my review process is I try to get at least, get deep experts to review the white paper. If that's successful, then a full proposal will be requested. The technical section there has a 15-page limit. And what it's being evaluated on by the reviewers, I asked them to review the technical detail and the subject awareness to evaluate the risk and reward. So I want, I want to try to minimize risk, of course, and I want to maximize the reward. And I think that's what will make for a very successful proposal. And there is outside reviewers for all submissions. This is a departure from the past, and it's the way I run the program. Is I like to have an outside reviewer for every submission, and potentially more than that. Okay, so there are also other initiatives going on. So there's the multidisciplinary university research initiatives called MURIs. These are teams of researchers investigating the intersection of multiple areas. So for example, in FY22, there's a MURI on social networks and behavioral dynamics, and there's a computational methods for self-learning agents. Those are just a couple examples. I think there's several more MURIs that you can see. These are all basic research. They're large grants, typically $1.5 million per year for 5 years, and they're teams of roughly 5 to 7 researchers from different disciplines, different institutions, and you should be checking the broad area announcements page frequently for when these are released. My understanding, and this is unofficial, is that you should be checking, especially in February. It seems like that's going to be the time when the new ones for FY23 are going to be released. And just be on the lookout. And the way these really work is that we have an internal proposal process where POs get together and then we all submit applications. And I can't tell you much more about details about that because I don't want to conflict anybody out of being able to apply. But I can say that I have applied for a few of these, and check back in February to see whether or not I was successful in getting any. And so this is sort of an interesting case because I like to hear about new ideas and new thrust areas from different researchers. And if you have some, that's great. But don't, I also don't want to conflict anybody. So if I talk to somebody and I were to mention, oh yeah, we're talking about a Murray now, that person is probably not going to be allowed to apply for the Murray. So of course I don't want to put anybody in that situation. So that's why I have to be circumspect when how I describe the Murray process and ideas that I've been hearing about for Murrays. There's also the Young Investigator Program. The due date is actually going to be at the end of this month. And that one popped up. This is for a single PI on a tenure track or equivalent. They can't have tenure already. They have to be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident by the due date that's listed. For example, for the FY22 one, they have to have the due date would be October 29th, as I said. The PhD has to be awarded on or after January 1st of 2014 for this FY22, and that will change by a year for each new one. It's highly competitive. It's been, by the numbers, it's more competitive than the NSF YIP. It's just because you're not just competing within the optimization portfolio for the YIP, you're actually competing across all the 5 different codes. So this is why they're so highly competitive. We got Nagin Gilrezai just received the YIP for FY21, and when I did my research on when the last time optimization got one, it was roughly 10 years ago. So these are very difficult to get. That was funded by an optimization program officer. There might have been a couple others funded by different programs. But anyways, they are very highly competitive. It is 6-1 research, 3 years total. Average total amount of the award is roughly $500,000. And the due dates, they vary. So you have to really check that page frequently. And that's what I'm going to leave you all with. Please check the broad area announcement page frequently. You can just search BAA ONR. The page will come up. If you have any questions about that, feel free to email me. I really look forward to some great ideas in the form of white papers and proposals coming. Thank you.